Welcome back to West Texas View.
Welcome back to the West Texas View. I'm Johnny Lou Avery, and joining me right now is Dr. Steve Thomas, who's the president of Midland College, and John James, who is a former Board of Trustees. He's also a city councilman, and you have known him in many roles, and as well as a businessman. And these two gentlemen are going to talk to us to this segment about the amazing partnership within the community and Midland College, and also the great economic impact that Midland College makes in this community. So it's a pleasure to welcome you two. Thank you so much for taking time to come and be on our program this morning. And I'd like for you to talk a little bit about your history with the college, because you haven't been here that long.
Well, that's really not true. I, like Stan and Dina were alluding to in an earlier segment, and their history with Midland College, I too was here in the early days. I started as an adjunct teacher in 1976. So the campus was brand new, and joined the faculty in 1979 and was on the faculty through the 80s. And then I left in 1987 and was gone for over 20 years, and then had the wonderful opportunity to come back as the president. So I've been back 4 years with this stint at Midland College.
And the longevity of the faculty and staff, you still knew a lot of those people.
Many. In fact, I was a little concerned that they knew me too well. So, but it was fun to be back and to see a lot of my colleagues that I haven't seen in a long time, like Dr. Savage and Dr. Jacobs and many others who are still part of the faculty at Midland College.
And that's the fun thing, is that Midland College has always had a real family feeling among the faculty and staff from the very beginning, when Dr. Langford was at the very beginning of hiring everybody.
That's been true.
John, I want you to tell a little bit about yourself before we get started.
Sure. I got to Midland as fast as I could, although I was born and raised in San Antonio. And I ran a company called Tomcat, who built staging and lighting equipment for the entertainment industry. And slowly, as I started volunteering in the community, some organizations really kind of rose to the top as organizations that you wanted to, in some way, shape, or form, be a part of. And Midland College was certainly one of those organizations. So I took a Spanish class there at one point, volunteered for a few things at one point, and ultimately landed on the Board of Trustees.
And you, when you came from San Antonio, you really didn't expect this to be such a cultural community, did you? And it was a real surprise?
You know, I didn't have a lot of expectations about about Midland when I got here, but I am pleasantly surprised, and told myself I'd be here 3 years. 18 years later, I'm still a resident of Midland and proud to be one.
And what an impact you've made, not only serving as on the Board of Trustees, but then also going and into the political arena and doing some of the other things. And so you've been a city councilman how long?
Oh my goodness, seems like forever, but it's been 5 years.
And you were a member of the Board of Trustees how long?
About 7 years, I believe. Yeah.
Well, tell us some of your experience as during the time you were on the board.
You know, one of the things that was most exciting about serving on the Board of Trustees at Midland College was, believe it or not, we would have board meetings, and just about once a month, one of the sports teams on the college would come in, and the coach would talk about the team any given year, and we would all get introduced to all of the members of the team, whether it was basketball or softball or what have you. And that one-on-one connection, I think, with the students at Midland College really brought home the reason why we were there and the reason our work was so important. So I was always excited on every board meeting. I was excited, but those in particular were really neat.
But you've had an opportunity to see the impact Midland College has made in the community in a lot of ways.
Absolutely.
From a businessman's standpoint as well as a board.
Well, that is so true. Midland College trained just about every one of the welders that I hired when I was at my former company. But also, serving on the 4A board or the Economic Development Board for the city, one of the things that we know with certainty, and there's a lot of data and information to support it, is there's a direct relationship between a successful economic development program and a community college. If the community college exists, you're going to be much more successful than if it doesn't.
Right.
And on top of that, if your community college is outstanding, like ours is, you'll be even more successful. And I think we've seen a lot of success for that very reason.
One of the first questions that an economic development director gets asked when they're trying to lure a company is there higher education?
Absolutely.
Is there some kind of education and continuing education programs?
Yeah. One of our many strengths is our ability to respond to industry needs very quickly. And we can customize training and put together programs that will fill that need for business and industry with their employees. And we've been doing that for many, many years. And certainly that's something we take very seriously as part of our mission.
And I am so pleased that you've been elected as the next president
of
the Chamber of Commerce, because people don't, a lot of people don't realize just how much work the Chamber of Commerce does in all facets of a community, whether it's the fine arts or any of the others, which is exactly what the college's mission is touching all, meeting all needs.
Yes,
and
yes.
so to have you come in and do that just shows not only the significance of Midland College, but also your interest in the community.
Yes, we've always felt like that there needs to be a real strong relationship, close relationship between the private sector and Midland College, and that's been part of our tradition for 40 years of being there to provide that type of support for any type of economic development opportunities that we have.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to this next year as being the Chamber president, and we've got a lot of work ahead of us, but things are really good in West Texas right now.
And I can remember when you built the Coliseum, that immediately the happiest people in the community was the Convention and Visitors Bureau, because they said, "Oh my goodness, we've needed that facility."
And the Chaparral Center continues to be a very important facility for the community. From trade shows to sporting events, we provide that forum.
Yeah, that is great. Well, tell us some of your stories from your standpoint as a board member of how you reached out into the community and the impact that this college has had.
Well, one of I think one of the most significant times in Midland College's history was really recently when the community overwhelmingly said, we are going to give our tax dollars to Midland College because we want this already outstanding campus to be even more outstanding as a jewel in the community. And I think if there's not many tax-supported entities can brag about providing good value for money, this is well worth our investment, and the community showed that most recently in the bond issue.
I agree with that, and I was going to say bond issues really tell the story. We're going to have to close our program today, but we're going to be back next Sunday, and I'm going to ask these two gentlemen to come back and start our program off next week, because there's so much more you need to know. We'll see you next week with another program.
Thanks for joining us for News West 9's West Texas View with Johnny Lou Avery. This has been a public affairs presentation of KWAB-TV and KWES-TV.